true false not given reading module. 1/4 of your total mark will going to depend on this. There is another version of true false not given. We call it yes, no, not given. It's actually nearly the very same yes, no, not given or true false not given. What is it? Let's go and crack it. Especially in the recent exams, the first passage or first article, you can call it first article, first passage, whatever you call it. First article or first passage, you will get 6 to 7 true false not given, and most probably the third passage, sometimes second, but most probably the third passage, you will get yes, no, not given, maybe 4 to 5, sometimes 6. So see, 6 to 7, 4 to 6, more than 10 plus questions. Out of 40 questions, 10 plus questions you will get from true false not given. So give it a value, try to understand the importance of it, and it is actually easy. Most of the students have the problem, have the confusion with the false and not given. Some other students also have the problem with true. So let's go and try to solve it. First of all, to become true, 100% of the info, I'm not saying 98%, 100% of the info will be matched, will be asked. So the question, from the question, when you will read the question, 100% info you will find in the passage, not 99%, not 98%, 100% is the thing. And there is a similarity between false and not given, so that's where a student face the most problem. What is it? Let's talk about the similarity first. The main similarity between false and not given, a portion of info will be given, same things but not given. So a portion of info will be given for false and for the not given. Then what is the difference? The difference for the false, a portion of info, not everything, a portion of info will be given opposite. Opposite means a question will become opposite, will become false when you will get a portion of info. Not everything will be opposite, a portion of info, a little bit info, not everything, a little bit of info you will get opposite. Then you can mark it as a false. When you will do the some examples, it will going to become more easier for you, hopefully. And for the not given, a portion of info will be given and a portion of info will not be given, not everything, a little bit of info, a little bit of info will not be given. So that's not given for you. So let's try it again. Let's try it in different way. First of all, for the true, 100% info, 100% info you will get or you will find in the passage. For the false, you'll always a portion of info in the passage as it is, but a little bit of info will be given opposite. For the not given, a portion of info will be given there, but a little bit of info, not everything, a little bit of info will not be given. Okay, so that's the fundamental. Let's go and do some exercise now. This exercise has been taken from Cambridge 19, the latest book of the Cambridge 19 test 3. First thing first, whenever you will get the question, per se you want to solve the true false not given, the first and foremost you want to locate. That's your first job. Locate. You need to locate, to do the locate, because if you don't know where to look for, it will be very difficult for you to answer. Generally what students do, in general what they do, they select one question, they come to the passage, they try to solve it. This is not the right way. This will take you a lot of time. I'm gonna try to help you in that way so that you can solve all the true false not given and get 100% correct with a short time period. Locate. To do the location, the first thing you really want to do is locating. To do the locating, what you can do, first and foremost, see, don't just go for one question at a time, go for all question at a time. Okay, go for all question at a time. How can you do that? Okay, so first say you get this question, so first job for you to select the words that you can find in a very short time period. That's your first job. What I said, let me say you again. First job, select all the words you can find it very easily. First step, whenever I look at all the 7 questions, your job is to write down the words you can see in a very quick time period. First, archaeological. You can see here some people will going to choose archaeological, but archaeological, this word you may be going to find in all the passages. So this word will not really going to help you. The first word come to my head is 18,000. It's a number. It's a number. It should be found very easily than other words. 11,700, 1,000. So there are 3 numbers out there. I'll try to find it the easiest time possible for these 3. And then there are some other words. There is proper noun, Obi, Cherishimton, right? Obi, Cherishimton, and then Kelo. This is another word you should find very easily, right? Because proper noun. And then Shimpton is another, there is another Shimpton. So see, these are the words you can really try and find out in the easiest time possible, in the quickest time possible. Let's go and do that. You can just open your book and try to find it by your way. But if you just look at here, you can actually find the word very easily. You can see 𝐿𝐻𝐳, right? 𝐿𝐻𝐳 is out there. 𝐷 is out there. What else you can find in the quickest time possible? 18,000, right? Easiest time possible. See, the finding out the number should not take a lot. Finding out the number should be the easiest thing you can do. And then after that, 11,700, right? 11,700. There is another 𝐻𝐳 out there. You can find that too. 𝐻𝐳. And then 1,000. Now you see, now your calculation is really done. How it will going to help you? See that. If you would just try to solve one question at a time, what would you do? You just read the question, then come here. You wouldn't really know where is to start. Maybe you know where to start, but you don't know where to finish. But you really now know. Okay, if you can find like another word, things will make easier for you. Let's say here you can see the word hello. See, hello. You can find this very easily, don't you? How it will going to help you? Before, when you would find the answer for number 1, you really didn't know. Okay, I will start here, where to finish. Now you know. So here, see, look at it. Here your number 2 is going to start. You know that to find the number 1, you just need to read before this, right? Maybe your number 2 is going to finish in around this place. Looks like that because 18,000 start here. So see, if you wouldn't locate the number 3, so this is your number 3, how it help you? So you know that to find out the number 2, you just need to read this question. Number 4 is here. Number 4 is here. So you know that if you read this question, you're going to find out the number 3. This is how it will going to help you, right? See, you couldn't locate the number 5, right? We couldn't locate the number 5. We located the number 6. But don't you know where to find the number 5? So maybe your 4 will gonna finish here. Maybe your 4 will going to finish here or here. So before 6, after 4, you're going to find out the number 5, right? Number 5. Very easy. 1,000. This is your number 7. So it will not going to take you a lot of time. And you don't need to find all the questions. If you can't locate 1 or 2 or 3, you can just find it by the help of other questions. So now your roadmap is ready. Your locating materials are ready. Okay, for the number 1, I'm going to read here. For number 2, I'm going to read here. For 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm going to read where you need to read. Now you know. So that's it. That's done. That's a fantastic job you have done here. So you're locating, done. You know where to find. So the vision of this locating, you know where to find. Where to find. Because everything should have a vision. You are doing a job. I'm telling you to do a job. You need to know the vision of it. Why I am doing it. What's the reason for it, right? You know the reason, right? You know where to find. Number 1 done. Okay. Number 2, when you read the question, the first thing you should read the question. Maybe some people try to read the passage. This is not a very good idea because you don't really, as you say, you don't really need to read everything. And when you try to improve your reading skill, you can read everything. But in terms of solving the questions, in terms of getting the score, you don't need to read everything. That's not the requirement. So when reading the question, so next job, you will read the question. But the way of reading the question should be varied. Read the question. If you write it, read the question. That's your second job. Okay, read the question. So to read the question, don't just, a lot of people do that. Don't just read the question for once and come here and find it. You will face problem. You will feel confused. Most of the people feel confused answering true false not given because they didn't understand the question properly. They don't give the time. They don't invest the time on the question. So please invest the time on the question. Super important. You'll see it will become very easy if you can give the importance to your question. So what you will do in the time of reading, after reading the question, you need to ask yourself 3 questions. Why this question can be true? If the question is true, if the answer of this question is true, what kind of information you will going to find in the passage? If the answer is false, what kind of info will be given opposite in your passage? If the answer is not given, what type of info will not be given? I'm repeating it again. When reading the question, you need to find out what type of info will be given in the passage for that specific question. What type of info will be given opposite for that specific question, and what type of information will not be given for that specific question. Let's go do that for this question. First up, here they're saying archaeological research had taken place on the island of 𝐷 before the arrival of 𝐋𝐢𝐳 and his colleagues. So see here, for this question, it's very important for you now. How is it? For this question, they're asking you the time. Time is the thing they're talking here. Before. Make the importance of this word like before. See? Before. They are asking you. Try to understand the question. Archaeological research had taken place. So we need to find out, was there any archaeological research? Was there? Okay. On the island, of 𝐲𝐲. This is the island name 𝐲𝐲. Before the arrival of the 𝐶𝐳𝐴𝐴𝐻𝐻𝐿 and his colleagues. So they are telling you 𝐶𝐳𝐴𝐴𝐻𝐻𝐿 and his colleagues arrived in the 𝐲𝐲. The question is the time. Time is important here. Time. Was it before or was it after? Archaeological research had taken place on island of 𝐲𝐲 before they're asking you, was it happen before? So if we find that information, yeah, the archaeological research was happened or taken place on the island before they came, before 𝐶𝐳𝐴𝐻𝐻𝐿 and his colleagues, before they came, it happened there. Per se, 𝐶𝐳𝐴𝐻𝐻𝐿 and colleagues was there on 2000. If their archaeological research happened in 1995 means it's true, right? Means it's true. But if archaeological research happened on 2000 or after that, right, or after that, then it will become true. Got it? So let's go and find it here. So they're saying, see in early 2019 Dr. 𝐶𝐳𝐴𝐻𝐻𝐿 and his colleagues from Australian National University became the first archaeologists to explore the 𝐲𝐲. So they are saying they were the first, means as they are the first means there was no archaeological research occurred before they came. It happened after they came because they are the first. The first archaeological research, right? They are the first. The research team discover a lot of things, but they are the first. Nothing happened before them. Whatever happened, it's after them. As it opposite, they said before something happened and we have seen they were the first, means nothing happened before them. So it's opposite and it will become false. See, as I told you, you don't need to read everything. For say number 2, for answering the number 2, you don't really need to read this passage because there is no information out there and you don't need to read it here. Maybe you'll try to read from this position because 𝐶𝐲, right? Read the questions. At the 𝐶𝐲 sites, the researchers found the first clamshell access ever to be discovered. See, ever to be discovered. First clamshell means the first ever. There was no clamshell before that. The first clamshell access ever to be discovered in the region. So at the 𝐶𝐲 sites, a place, they're talking about a place. The name of the place is 𝐶𝐲. The researchers found the first clamshell access ever to be discovered in the region. So you need to find out, actually, was there any clamshell access? If there was any clamshell access, was it the first one to be found in 𝐶𝐲, or we could have found it somewhere else? We need to find out that the first ever to be discovered in that region. Per se, you live in a place 𝐶𝐲 and there is a clamshell. People are saying, okay, this is the first ever. But then you heard, okay, no, maybe there is another side name, another name for say, but someone told you or you got the information. First, this is your house, so someone said the first clamshell found here, and someone said no, there is a temple out there, right? There is a mosque out there. The first clamshells actually found there, right? That means this is false. But if you find the info, no, the first clamshell found here, first ever, means there was no clamshell found anywhere else. There was no clamshell found anywhere else before this one. So let's go and find out, was it the first ever clamshell? If it is the first ever clamshell, it will be true, found in the 𝐶𝐲. But if they say no, they could have found somewhere else, some other places, then it is false. If they don't say where we could find the first clamshell, then it can be not given. So let's go find it and read it from here. The earliest access, because the word we are looking for, 𝐶𝐲, we found it here. So we're going to read it from here. The earliest access 𝐶𝐲 were made using clamshell. So we got like another word, clamshell. Access made from clamshells from roughly the same time had also the access made from clamshells. So the access those are made from clamshells from roughly the same time had also previously been found somewhere in the region. Means in the same time, it is not the first clamshell you can only find in 𝐶𝐲 sites. You actually can find it somewhere else. Previously been found. Before that. Previously been found. Previously means past time. In the past. Previously. Before that. So they're saying in the 𝐃𝐲𝐳 they found clamshells access, they found clamshell access, but they're saying they had found the clamshell access previously, before that, some other places. So means first clamshells didn't really found in the 𝐃𝐲𝐳. The clamshell they have found in the 𝐃𝐲𝐳, that was not the first ever, because they have found it somewhere else too, some other places too, and that's the reason it will gonna be false. Number 3, the size of the obi today is less than it was 18,000 years ago. Here they're talking about the size of obi, not size of other thing. They're talking about size of obi, not other thing. Size of obi. They're saying the size of obi today is less than it was 18,000 years ago. Means, let's say this is the obi. They're saying it is smaller, less than 18,000 years ago. This is 18,000 years ago. Means 18,000 years ago the size of obi was bigger. The size of obi was bigger, and today the size of obi is lesser or less. So previously it was bigger, now it is less, smaller. We need to find that. If we find that, yeah, the size of obi today is smaller than the before, we are trying to find out a comparison out there, comparison of size, nothing else, comparison of size with the 18,000 years ago. So here we found the 18,000 years. So let's start with this sentence. The oldest culture layers from 𝐾𝐲𝐳 provided the team with earliest record for human occupation on obi, dating over 18,000 years. So we couldn't really find out any information about the size. Let's read forward. At this time the climate was drier and colder than today. So here they're talking about or comparing about the weather, about the climate change, but we are not looking for climate change to answer number 3. We are looking for the size. We are looking for the size, nothing else, only the size. The island's dense rainforest would likely have been much less perishable than they are now. Sea levels were about 120 meters lower. So they're talking about the sea levels, yet we are not talking about sea levels here. We are talking about the total size. Okay, meaning obi was a much larger island. So they're talking about this time period, means they're talking about was past, this past 18,000 years ago. 18,000 years ago they are saying obi was much larger, bigger, right? In 18,000 years ago obi was much bigger, means they're comparing with the present time, means at present time obi is a bit smaller than the before. The same thing they are saying here. The size of obi is less than it was 18,000 years ago. For that reason this answer will be true. Okay, and then the next one, should I do it or shouldn't I? The video is getting bigger. Let's do a little bit. Maybe I'll try to give you a overview first, then if there is any more time I'll try to give you some kind of insight. But let's go and do some more first. Here number 4, they're saying a change in the climate around 11,700 years ago had a greater impact on obi than on the surrounding island. So they're talking about here what? A change in the climate around 11,700 years ago had a greater impact. They're saying climate really changed. Climate really changed. They have already saying you don't need to worry about it. They're saying it had a greater impact. They're comparing the impact of climate change. They're not asking you did the climate change or not. That's not the question they are asking you. They are asking you the impact was greater or lesser. The amount of impact, was it greater or not on obi than on the surrounding island. That means in this question we are looking for the comparison between obi and surrounding island. We are looking for the comparison between obi and the surrounding island. About what? About the impact, a comparison of the impact of climate change. Let's go if we can find that. If it was greater impact than other island, it will be true. If it is not greater, maybe lower or less, then it will going to be the false. And then if we can't find the comparison, it can be not given. Let's go and find out. So here is the location, right? So let's read it. Roughly 11,700 years ago, as the most recent ice age ended, the climate became significantly, they're saying climate became significantly warmer and wetter, right? No doubt making obi's jungle much thicker. Here they are talking about the obi, right? They are not bringing other islands here because we are looking for the comparison with obi and other island, right? Right now they are talking about obi, and in obi the climate significantly became warmer and wetter. Okay, according to the researchers, it is no coincidence. It is no coincidence that around this time the first axes crafted from stone rather than the seashells appear. Stones rather than than the seashell appears. Okay, likely in response to heavy duty use for clearing and the modification of the increasing of the rainforest. So you can see there is no information given about other islands. The information have been given here. It's all about the Abiy, nothing else. So you can't find the comparison of climate change impact between the Abiy and surrounding island, and for that reason the answer will be not given. Okay, number 5. Let's go with the number 5. They're saying the researchers believe there is a connection. You're looking for a connection, you're looking for a link. There is a connection between warmer, wetter weather and the change in the material used to make excess. So what we are looking for here? We are looking for here, was the material of excess change because of warmer and wetter weather? Look at this. The researchers believe there is a connection. There is a connection. There is a link between warmer, wetter weather and, so they are doing that, warmer, wetter weather and a change in the material used to make excess. So they are asking you need to find, they have used some material. Look at this. Try to understand. They're trying to use some material. They have tried to use some material to make excess. What you cut down the wood with what? Excess. So they have used some material to make excess. Okay, they're saying there is a connection between the weather. The material you choose, it depends on the weather. Does it? They're saying, was the material of the excess changed because of the warmer and wetter weather? So when they get, we have seen significantly warmer and wetter weather, right? We have already did it. So as the weather have changed, does that make them change the material too? That's what we are looking for here. Okay, because of warmer and wetter weather, did they change the material because of the weather? Did they change the material because of the weather? That's what we are looking for. They are looking for the connection for that. There is a connection between weather. First say, let me give you an example. First, say if you live in an area where you always find 30 degrees Celsius, the temperature. Okay, the temperature. But in November, first say in November, the temperature is first say 12 degrees Celsius. So here, your usual dress was t-shirt and jeans. First here your usual dress, you must jacket and shoe. See, so here there is a connection. The changes of dresses, here we are talking about what? We are talking about changes of dresses, and there is a connection between changes of dresses with the temperature, right? Link. There is a link. There is a connection between the changes of dresses and the temperature. Like there, the same way there is a connection between warmer, wetter weather with the material used to make excess. So let's go and find it. If there is a connection, answer will be true. If there is no connection, and then false. If we can't find anything, like is there any connection or not, then not given. Okay, roughly 11,700 years ago, let's read it again. At the most recent ices ended, the climate became significantly warmer and wetter, no doubt making Abiy jungle much thicker. According to researchers, it is no coincidence that around this time, there is no coincidence, around this time, we're talking about this time, around this time, the first excess crafted from stone, around this time, the first excess crafted from stone rather than seashells appear. Right? So that's what they are looking for here. Around this time. Believe that? Around this time means this time, right? Around this time. The time climate has changed. Around this time. The time climate changed. Climate became warmer and wetter. They're saying first excess crafted from stone rather than seashell appear. They're saying this time they have used the stone instead of seashell. And they're saying why they have did that. Likely the response heavy duty used for clearing and modification of the increasing dense forest, because in that time when the weather became warmer and wetter, in this time the forest became more dense and you need to clear it out. While stone takes about twice as long grind into an X compared to shell, the harder material keeps it sharp. Is for, they're saying, and this time because the warmer and wetter why the weather was warmer and wetter, they used to use stone rather than seashells, and for that reason it will be the true, right? You can see because the weather was like that, they needed to use stone. They couldn't use seashells, they needed to use stone, right? There is a connection. They needed to use stone, like you needed to use jacket because of the cold weather. Here they needed to use stone as a material make excess. Okay, the answer will be true. Number 6, what they're saying here, Shimpton team are surprised. Wow, surprised to find evidence of the Obi Islanders hunting practice. They're saying symptom teams are surprised to find evidence. So what they're looking for evidence here, to find evidence of the Obi Islanders hunting practices. So Obi Islander had some hunting practices. They're saying Shimpton team became surprised. So you're looking for surprise. So you need to understand the word surprise. Surprise means you didn't really expect that. For say, for your birthday, someone brought you cake, you didn't know, you became surprised, right? Or someone, you thought someone will bring the cake, but she or he didn't, and you became surprised, right? That is surprise. Surprise means you didn't really thought it will going to happen, and that happened. That when we became surprised, right? That is surprise, not usual things. You didn't think it will going to happen, and it became happen. Then we call it surprise. You need to understand, symptom teams are surprised means they didn't think to find evidence of the Obi Islanders hunting practices. You need to look for why are they surprised. If they are surprised, then it will be true. If they are not, then false. If we can't find the information they are surprised or not, then it will become not given. So the saying symptoms team excavation of the shelters of 𝐶𝐂𝐳𝐬. Again, you don't really need to read this, right? You don't. Unearthed a volcanic glass substance called obsidian, which must have brought over the another island, as there is no known source on Obi. It is also revealed particular types of beads similar to those previously found in island south. They have said a name here. These finds again support the idea of that Obi Islanders routinely travel to other islands. See, there is no information they are surprised or not. No information. They're just saying it was happening. So we need to give it not given, right? Very straightforward, not given, this one. And the final one, and the last one. It is thought that the 𝐾𝐿O shelters were occupied continuously until 1000 years ago. It is thought that 𝐾𝐿O shelters are occupied continuously until about 1000 years ago, are occupied continuously. So you're looking for was that really happened, right? Continuously until means they didn't do it after 1000 years, right? Means they have done it till the 1000 years. For say 999, after that they didn't do this. You need to look for it is thought that, they're not saying it is sure, they're saying it is thought that the 𝐾𝐿O shelters are occupied continuously until. So let's go and read it. Whatever the reason for the departure, they're saying they have departed. There is no evidence. There is no evidence for use of the 𝐾𝐿O shelters after this time. There is no evidence for use of the 𝐾𝐿O shelters after this time until about 1000 years ago, when they see. They're saying there is no evidence. Look like it is true now. There is no evidence for use of the 𝐾𝐿O shelters after this time until 1000 years ago. So it's look like, yeah, they didn't. It's look like true. But if you continue to read, when they are reoccupied, see, occupied again. Reoccupied means occupied again. It is not until 1000 years ago. Means they reoccupied even after 1000. Peoples who owned pottery as well as, but it was reoccupied. So they're saying it was occupied continuously about 1000 years ago. Here they're saying no, it is 1000 years ago when they were reoccupied. They occupied again, so it will be false. All right, let's do a review a little bit in a short period of time. All right, so whenever you will do the true false not given question, first thing first, to become true, 100% info will be masked. For the false, a portion of info will be given. Opposite, for the not given, a portion of info will not be given. Not everything, a portion of info will not be given here. Like here you see the not given. Which one was not given here? The info was there, like Shimpton teams, Obi Islanders, this kind of information were there. But was the surprise or not, this info we couldn't find. That's the reason we give it the not given, right? Even for the false, see, the 𝐾𝐿O shelters info was there. Let me change the pen here, color of the pen. The 𝐾𝐿O shelters info was there, right? 1000 years ago it was there. But the info occupied, they have said reoccupied. Thus the little bit of info was given opposite, isn't it? A little bit of info was given opposite. That's all, nothing else. So whenever you will find this info, again 100% info will be masked, and for the false, a portion of info will be given opposite, and not given, a portion of info will not be given. The first thing, now you can match the answer. You can see false, false, true, not given, true, not given, and then false. So try it out. There is another yes, no, not given. There is another 4 questions, 4, 5. See, here is 7 and here is how many? Look at this. I told you, right? How many questions you will get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7 plus 6. This is 13. 13 questions of true false not given. In your Cambridge 19, right? 13 questions out of 40, you are getting 13 questions. It's more than 1/4. It's more than that. All right, so give it a value, and whenever the first thing you must do is the locating. Don't just look at one question, try to look at everything. Try to look at all the questions. Maybe you will not be able to look at all the questions. Maybe one or two questions you will find difficulties, but it will going to help you to find it in the right way. Okay, and then when you will read the question, try to understand, okay, why or what kind of information I'm going to get there if I answer the true. What kind of information will be given opposite if the answer is false? What kind of information will not be given if the answer is not given? You ask yourself the question first, these three questions, and then you go and find out. It will become very easier for you to answer. Now I'll give you a homework, a little bit of this is the passage, very short homework for you. The three questions, just solve it, and the way I have taught you, first try to find out the word and locate it here. First locate, and then read the question, try to understand what kind of why this question can be true, why this question can be false, why this question can be not given. And also let me know, was this class really helpful for you or not, and what types of classes do you want in the next. Okay, thank you very much for staying with me, and try to write down 1, 2, 3 true, false or not given, and I'll give you the feedback. Okay, till the next one, goodbye.